Good morning. All right. Let's go over here to, where did I put, there we go, fight. Let's try a little group stuff here. Got some UFC ref. Good morning, everybody. Let's see. There and there. All right, I think I know where I'm going to be working, so zoom in a little bit there. Alright, that's there. Too much space there. Good morning. Happy morning, right? Doing some drawing. Alright, let's get these other forms in here, make sure everybody's lined up properly so it doesn't look weird. Alright, legs connecting in the right spot back there. straight lines, right? We're sticking with boxes. Good morning over on the YouTube. Jennifer Vinci. How are we doing this morning? Let's see, that's definitely there. Good morning, people popping in. Keep it all boxy in here. Anybody else working on any kind of a study project? Come lay down, puppy. Is there enough room for you down there? Here. Back up, Bosh. Come. Bosh, come. Bosh, over here. Sorry, I'm trying to convince my dog he wants to lay down in a spot, but there's not enough room. Well, I guess there is now. He's moved a little bit. Probably wants his blanket. Where is your big blue blanket? Alright, 1 second here. Where's your blanket at, Bosh? It's down there. It's just hard to see. Let's get your blanket. Now, my dog is definitely a blanket dog. He's all about the blanket. Ugh. This negative space here. Yeah, so he's moved into his blanket spot and is curled up nice and tight. Now that we've had some breakfast and a WALK, we are ready to go back to sleep. I can't see her other foot, but I assume it probably looks like a foot, right? But I can't see her other ankle. Girl fight, by the way, here going on. No pulling of hair, though, I guess. I think that might be considered inappropriate for the I don't have to move too much around here. let's make sure that arm is connecting properly. So little things like that where the fingers moved around. It's the kind of thing maybe I wouldn't think about doing myself. Which is what really, it's great to study reference for, is kind of finding those little things. So like these middle finger and the pointer finger kind of looping, or well, the ring finger and the pointer finger kind of pushing over the top of the middle finger. Eyes are up here. That's the chin. Bicep on her is really pumped up there. He's trying to squeeze her out, I guess. Alright, I think we got all the pieces in there. Everything squared off. There's the negative space there, her top. Other foot coming out the back here. Good morning, people popping in. Cool. Alright, leg there. Like all how the hair is all kind of tied up on him. How are we doing so far? I think the figures are pretty solid in here. Good, everybody popping in. How are we doing? Alright, I think we got everybody in their proper spot, so let's get the ink out, huh? Oh yeah? There are not too many of them? Yeah, the problem is, I don't think that many people are actually that interested in art streams. But I get it. It's like quite literally watching paint dry, right? Let's see. Let's get my little support here. I see. All right. Yeah, focusing on sharp, straight edges on things with these sketches at the moment. I've got my little calligraphy nib out here. Yeah, but yeah, I've been doing this for a long time, but oh yeah, it's a dip pen. Yeah, it's a good. I like the dip pens. The bigger thing is kind of getting the excess ink off, so I can get these like super crisp lines off of it. Trying to keep track of this knot they're all tied in. Good morning, people popping in. How are we doing? Just doing homework, huh? I assume it's fun homework, right? Art homework. Oh, good. I had to go paint on the street. Like some landscape painting or something. Some landscape painting. Hmm. Yeah, I like to do some. I haven't done that in a while. I should. I found some of my old. I was looking at some of my old sketchbooks and things. Like when I left Hong Kong, I was um, spent a ton of time kind of painting landscapes in the city, focusing on watercolor because I hadn't had much experience with it. And so pretty much every day I would just go out in the summer. It's super hot and humid, just sweat. Um, um, but I do these super precise, like little pencil drawings, and then watercolor them. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, but I was middle of the summer in Hong Kong, so it's extra humid then because it's monsoon season. Um, didn't I don't think it rained a ton that summer though. I mean, there were rainy days, but one of the nice things there is they have a lot of like covered walkways that are kind of above ground in certain areas. But yeah, it does get a little bit like cold there in the winter. Not a lot, but a little bit. Because it's funny because it's so far south, but the Siberian air blows across China and goes into the that area, so it can actually get quite cold. Never freezing, I've heard there was like snow on the main mountain there once, like a long time ago. But that was like 100 years ago or something when that happened. Well, I mean, I used to live there, right? So, yeah, I spent 4 years, living in Hong Kong. But yeah, so I did, but I didn't do a lot of that until just before I left. I think it was part of just working for SCAD was such a miserable experience that um, but yeah, that summer after I'd been officially fired, I was kind of waiting on visa stuff. Well, not visa stuff. Taxes was the big thing that took a while. It takes a while for them to basically once you lose your job in Hong Kong, your future pay gets frozen until the taxes have been sorted out. And so I had to kind of wait there until that all got figured out. I didn't mind, my lease wasn't up for a while where I was living, and so I was like, well, I'll just stay here. It wasn't that expensive for the lease I had. So I was living illegally in a warehouse, and but I had plenty of savings, so I wasn't worried at all. But it did take I think a couple months for that to get all sorted out. You have to prepay all the taxes or something when that happens. It was more of an inconvenience than anything else. I actually had to buy a printer because I didn't have access to the school one anymore. So I had to buy a printer to print off all of my documents because they wanted paper copies of everything. But so yeah, they. What's funny is the reason they gave me because they were firing a whole bunch of people at that time. I think they were just cleaning house or whatever, trying to put some heads on the table or something as examples so other people would shape up. But they fired their entire ESL staff, English as a second language staff, because they weren't getting students to go from ESL into the university directly as quickly as they felt they should. Because that was students had to have a certain English proficiency to come into the school, and I'm pretty there was a lot of times I was pretty sure they didn't have that proficiency. Not too many, but a few times where there was students I don't think you really understand everything I'm saying to you. But yeah, so the freeze your pay, it's held back for a while. One thing that was nice for me though is because of when I signed my contract, which was before they fired me, months before, they had to pay the whole thing out. and so I got like a full year's pay for no work. So I spent some time traveling before coming back to the United States. The only weird thing that happened was I paid off all of my bank cards and shut down my accounts and all this stuff there. And one of my cards was, they have a payment system in the city. It's used for like the subway or the metro, and you can use it to buy other things like in stores. It's called Octopus, and you can use it for like everything around town to pay with, and you can kind of add money to it. Well, I had a credit card that would kind of automatically add money to it, and I had paid off that card completely. It was 100% paid off, and then like 6 months later, I got this bill for like the equivalent US dollar would be like $3 or something like that. And there was no way for me to pay it. They wanted me to come into the bank. I was in the United States, on the other side of the world. And for like this $3 account. And they couldn't pay to because I didn't have the account anymore. I'd shut it off. Like it was gone. And they couldn't take an American check. I couldn't send them it with like a credit card number or anything like that. And so it started, accruing penalties on it. I think it got to around like $15 or something. It was just this bizarre thing. And so I had a friend of mine who's in Hong Kong go in to like an ATM and pay to that account. So I owe him a little bit of cash for next time I see him. But I was just like this crazy thing. It was like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I contacted the people there. I talked to some people on the phone. They're just like, I don't know. I'm like, well, I paid off this whole thing before I left. I'm like, yes, that's correct. And I'm like, why is this here? And they're like, we don't know. Nobody knew anything. So it's the Asian no, which is always a bother. And I'm just like, what? It's like $5. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, it's nothing. Like, I can send you a check. I'm like, well, we can't process an American check and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, can I send you, like, some cash or something? I had some leftover cash. But they just didn't want anything. It was weird. They wanted it one way and one way only. I was long gone. Yeah, so the travails of the expatriate, right? So, it got resolved. It was just this bizarre thing. And that I had to kind of deal with. But hopefully it's still all paid off. I haven't looked in a while. It's like I could go online and see my bank account for a long time. It's not there anymore, but So, welcome to the expatriate life. So, but that was a long time ago. I left Hong Kong in 2016. It's hard to believe it's been like 8.5 years. Came back to the United States in December of 2016. And I basically lived off of that payment for the most part for like 2 years. Did a lot of exploration and sorting out of things. So I live pretty, always lived pretty cheaply, so that helps. As long as I have enough space to kind of just do my stuff, then I'm very happy with that. Though I have been having some fun. I've been, not fun. I've been trying to settle into this place I've moved into. Finally, I've only been here, a year and a half, and went through all of my prints that I've picked up from different Kickstarters over the last however many years. Probably going pretty far back, actually, like 10 years or more. I bought a bunch of cheap frames for them and been putting them up around the house. Put up my own paintings downstairs because that's more of the painting studio that I'm not really using yet, but it's down there. So it's been kind of interesting putting up all this stuff. I have a bunch of like these Arthur Adams prints, Jeff Smith bone prints, Franklin Booth, a bunch of other things. So Cooper, she's great. Just a few of those though. I just hit an hour. I'm just about done inking here too, so that's good. I thought I'd try doing a double figure here. See how that goes. I have fun with this nib though. I like the effects it has. So, but yeah, it's funny actually. I had to contact SCAD recently, last year in the fall, so like a year ago. So I was submitting some paperwork to get my student loan forgiven, and the guy who actually ended up being my contact there, I guess he has a different position now, but he was the guy who recruited me originally to go out there. I did actually get contacted by someone there a few years ago to go out there and work. She was unaware of my past experience with the school, so I informed her of that, and said it was, it'd be probably better for her if she got out of there as quickly as she could. Just because it's not I think, a psychologically healthy place for people to be. It's a weird place. It's SCAD is it's very well known school because they have really great marketing. Like they're sending people around the world, recruiting people, and getting students in there, and they've got lots of different departments. They spend a lot of money on their facilities, so they've got really good, really nice facilities there. But person that owns the school, runs it, she's her background's in elementary ed. It was her husband that started the school back in the late 80s, and she got the school in the divorce. Anyway, it's run kind of like has a weird way of how it runs. It's kind of like, I forget the name of that lady in Harry Potter. She wore pink, took over the school. She's kind of like that person, I think. And so everything that the school has done to kind of please her. It's theoretically a non-profit, but the her family benefits a lot financially from it. Like they'll sell the school properties they buy at kind of inflated prices. There's a whole thing about how there's a whole article that goes into kind of the family abuse of the system to benefit themselves. That's the funny thing about non-profits, is they're usually set up to benefit the people that run it very specifically. Like if you look into say the Clinton Foundation is kind of a classic one, like how much money that they receive and how much actually goes to the people that are supposed to benefit from it. It's kind of infamous for being a very small percentage. Most of the money goes to the people that run the place, not the people there ostensibly there to help. And their donations dropped off significantly when Hillary lost the election, back in 2016. Which kind of explained why people were donating to them in the first place. Yeah, so one of the things they do in the city though is they actually buy up old properties and they renovate them, which I think is kind of interesting at the least, So even the building we had in Hong Kong was considered a historic building there. It's an old courthouse and jail, and so we had our kind of assembly area there was in the courthouse room. And it has it's the British style too, so they have little box the defendant goes into, and the stage up there and everything. So that was always kind of interesting space. But all the artwork has to kind of fit her taste, so it's not what students are interested in necessarily or understand. It's there was a student painting, because the school buys a lot of student work. Which, I guess that's a good thing. But there was a student painting up on the wall, and it's a girl eating Taco Bell taco. Like there's a big wrapper, and she's eating this, like, I don't know, Taco Bell thing. Um, and but anyway, you really couldn't really tell it was Taco Bell, and most of the students there had never, maybe they'd heard of it in like a TV show or something, but they didn't know what Taco Bell was. So they'd never been to the United States, and they didn't have Taco Bell there. There wasn't really a lot of Mexican restaurants in Hong Kong. I think there was like one or something like that. But yeah, they didn't know what it was, but it was like put up there as like an example of a good student painting, right? Because that's what they're kind of representing with that work, is kind of what they like, what the school likes. And but it was very hard to like get any local student work up there. And the word that kind of came down to us, that there were some complaints about the quality of student work being produced or something like that. And one of the things that came back to us, that was supposedly, she said, I don't know, of course, if it's true or not, I wasn't there, but the comment was that the work is too Asian. I'm like, I don't know, what else would it be? We're in, Asia. And they kind of went through and they offended a bunch of people, and like the admin people, so it kind of made it hard to operate in the city. Um, Again, she's a Southern princess, so that I think that's where the Asian thing came from. She's like, it doesn't look like what I think art should look like. Um, so I think that's kind of what was driving that. But what's the name of that Harry Potter character that ran the school? But yeah, it was a wild experience. I still only stayed there as long as I did just because I was in Hong Kong, right? How often you get to live in a big world city like that, that's not that's so far away and different than what you're used to living in. I mean, Hong Kong's pretty Western in terms of what's there, what's available. Everyone speaks English. There's a lot of that's definitely. Well, I draw another one probably tomorrow. This is this morning's morning study, so I'm a little over time, but yeah. So this is it today's. This is yesterday's. Oops, wrong button there. That's what I'm working on today. I appreciate that. I'm just trying to engage with some morning study projects. I have to have like a whole folder here of like UFC fighting. The only time I've seen girls fight in real life was in high school. And that was like, in the hallway. Started like pulling on each other's hair and ended up scratching each other on the floor or something. Typical, prototypical girl fight kind of thing. Probably trying to scar each other's faces or something like that. That was in Georgia, long time ago. Alright, I think we're going to call it there for the morning. Write the date and the source on here. Try to make a point of doing that these days, so I'll look back at old drawings and things and I'm like, when did I do this? And where did that come from? I have no idea. It was a long time ago. So it is 25/01/25, and this is pin ref. Make sure my ink bottle's closed up. A number of times I've shut my drawer here with the ink bottle open. It's a problem, especially at an angle. So anyway, thanks everybody that came in. I appreciate it, and we'll talk to you all next time.